Steve, what's your update? What's your roundup of today?
Of today, I'd say, up until a certain point, it went well. It was calm, it was peaceful, there was no trouble, there was no violence, there were no fights. You know, there'd been lots of rumours that certain different groups were going to come and attack Tommy, prevent him coming. None of that happened. And I'd say actually for most of the day there was quite a good vibe there, quite a positive, peaceful atmosphere to the place. Tommy came, he was a bit late as he often is, he came, he did what he wanted to do, he spoke to Hattoon, there was a big crowd around, there was a lot of support, and he started to leave and he started to walk down one of the paths, and I was stood at the other end of the path as it happened, and suddenly a group of police appeared from nowhere, stopped, blocked the path, and I thought, what the heck are they doing? They're blocking his exit. Why would you do that? He's 10 seconds away from leaving this park and being on his way home. And they stopped him, which seemed a bit odd. And then it soon became apparent that they were arresting him. And,
what for? Do you know?
Well, the word is, and I've had police officers have said this as well, that he was arrested for having an offensive weapon on him. Now, anyone that thinks Tommy would be stupid enough to come here with an offensive weapon, it's clearly nonsense.
So do you think it was a setup? A bit of a setup?
I am so disappointed that thought even enters my head, but of course it has, because he's not stupid enough to do that. He absolutely would never do that. So either someone, you know, if he has anything on him, then yeah, I mean that's the only solution. But set up by who? That would be the question. But I do think that after everything the state have done about taking away his social media, and obviously his number of followers isn't what it used to be, that the state is clearly still worried about him. That they know he can still command a huge amount of attention and appeal, and they clearly would still be worried about that. But you know, we wait to see whether, you know, will he be charged, will he be arrested, what the process will be. But as I say, we all know he now has lawyers.
So what do you think the future holds?
Well, for Speaker's Corner, this is the last Sunday before we go into another lockdown. Speaker's Corner is not going to be allowed. The lockdown is not going to last 4 weeks. You know, does anyone really think for a minute they're going to lock us down till, what would it be, the end of November, and then open things up just before Christmas when everyone's going to want to go out and party? No, of course they're not. We've got this lockdown now until New Year, at least. You know, I think they said at the very beginning of the last lockdown it was only going to be for a couple of weeks or for a few weeks, and then, you know, months and months later. So we've now got this for months. But I don't think people are going to be so compliant this time. I was gobsmacked how compliant everyone was the first time round. I mean, generally across society, I think a lot of people are less scared now. We know more about it. We know, unless you're in your 80s and 90s, the chances that you die are minuscule. You know, 0.0 something percent. So I don't think they're going to have the same level of compliance, and therefore I feel sorry for these guys, the police, who are going to have to enforce it against a population that is growingly against it and see it for what it is, complete utter nonsense. So I think people will probably turn up at Speaker's Corner, but what will happen?
What about future for Tommy? What's he looking?
Well, depends what the outcome is. You know, there was always a risk of him coming to Speaker's Corner. So we have to wait and see. But you know, he's on the interview on Hearts of Oak the other day. He's alluded to work and projects that he's got coming up and on the go. So no doubt the state will do all they can again to silence him, because they're bloody petrified of the man. He is a rough and ready Douglas Murray, and that in itself is a big appeal to a lot of people, and they know it. So there you go. And a lot of people, and everyone that follows him, are not all rough and ready people. You know, there is a lot of people that could be considered middle class, but you know, they've got potentially more at risk to speak out and support him. But I've spoken to people that, you know, middle class people in good jobs, people that have retired from good jobs, that agree with the vast majority of what he stands for and what he says. So, and I think they know that. So So they won't allow it to. Well, they'll try their best not to let it to happen. But I think often these things turn around and go in the opposite direction, because he'll speak out against what's happened today, and it will bring him more attention and more appeal. So they may end up with egg on their faces. But it so annoys me. I like to be on the police side. There are some really good coppers out there who do really good job, not especially in the Royal Parks, but elsewhere as well. And they must be getting so pissed off that they're being used for all this political policing, whether it's dealing with Tommy Robinson or whether it's dealing with, the anti-lockdown marches, where we've seen two-tier policing. At the very same moment in time, there was one Sunday where the police were dealing with people at Speaker's Corner and arresting people at Speaker's Corner, whilst at the very same time there were thousands of Shia Muslims over in Marble Arch. At the very same moment, the other night, people climbing over the statue outside Buckingham Palace, and the police did nothing. Do they not think people are going to see that? And it's the politicisation of the police, who are being used by the politicians or the state, and people are going to wake up and smell the coffee. And I dread to think where things are going to go during this next lockdown, to be honest.
Alright.
There you go.
Cheers, Steve.
Cheers, Mr. Rex.
Nice one.
Subscribe, like, hit the buttons.
Yeah. Subscribe, lads and lasses.